everyone, welcome back to my channel, So Little Time, and my name is Karen. So today's vlog is going to be a little bit of a mashup. There's quite a few subjects that I wanted to talk to you about today, so I'm going to try and cram them all into this one video just because I don't have a lot of time to film and the editing process just takes forever. So I'm just going to try and get as much in as possible. So hopefully it's not going to be too long for you, but feel free to skip along to any points that you're more interested in. So I'm going to be talking to you about my autumn plans moving forward. I've got some makes to show you as well that I've recently done. I haven't got too many. My sojo went a bit flat recently. So I've now sort of come back thinking of the things that I want to make for autumn. I also wanted to go through my Make Nine with you, just to share where I am at with that. And earlier this year in January, I did a list for the resolutions for the year, so I just wanted to update you where I'm at with that as well. So firstly then, I'll go through my autumn plans with you. So this weekend coming, I'm actually attending Sew Brum, which I'm really excited about. I cannot wait to go. A whole day to go around fabric shops and pick up all the things that I want to. It's just going to be amazing, and to see everybody there as well. So if you are there, come and say hi. So I've got a few things that I am looking for. I'm sorry if you can hear the bin men outside. Yes, so then my projects for this autumn. Firstly, the first thing I'm going to be doing is a dress that has been picked for me to make. And that is because I'm part of a challenge that's been set up by Rosie of Rosie Sews Modern Vintage and Jane of Loopy Mabel's Closet. And I'll link their details down below because they've got both a YouTube vlog and also an Instagram page for you to check out. They came up with the hashtag swap share sew, and you basically get paired up with another sewer and you send them a picture of 3 garments that you've not made before, 3 patterns that you've not made before, and they choose which one that they think you should make. And then they send you a little parcel in the post with some haberdashery notions for you to use on your project. And there are prizes to be won for using the notions and that kind of thing. So if you wanted to check out all the details about that, then just have a look on their YouTube or Instagram pages. So I've been paired up with a lady from an Instagram page called Sew Projects, and her name is Yelena, I think that's how you say it. So she has chosen for me, I sent her 3 patterns. So I sent her the Freya dress, which is out of the Simply Sewing magazine. And so that's the pinafore style dress. These are all pinafore style dresses actually. And I also sent her the Ivy pinafore by Jennifer Lauren, handmade. And I would opt to make the slimmer version. And the Camden pinafore and skirt by Nina Lee. So Yelena has kindly chosen the Freya dress for me to make. So this one has a crossover back. Where am I pointing? Up here? Up here. And I think that clasps with 2 buttons inside the waistband, because you can just make this as a skirt option as well, but I want to make the full dress. It's got pockets on the front and it has a waistband detail as well, so it does cinch you in at the waist, so I'm quite excited to make that. I haven't actually got any fabric for it in my stash, so I've bought some from Crafty Sew in Leicester, so I just need to pick that up this week. And what I have bought is some navy needle cord. I don't think this is lined, so whilst I'm at Sew Brum, I'm going to buy some lining fabric from the Fancy Silk store because it's only £1.99 a metre, so it's dead cheap. So I'm just going to get some so it's slippy on the inside for wearing with tights, and also with needle cord it can be a bit fine, so it gives it just that little bit of body as well. So I'm really looking forward to making that. Now, she doesn't actually make clothes from patterns, she self-drafts, so she's just going to send me an idea of what she wants to make for herself, so I'll then have to gather some haberdashery notions to send on to her. So really excited to see what she's going to make. So that's the first project for autumn. And I do want to make the other 2 pinafore dresses, the Ivy and the Camden pinafore. So I am going to do that for autumn. Now, I had in my stash some green fabric that I picked up from Sew Brum last year, a remnant fabric from Barry's. So if you remember this, it's quite a heavyweight fabric, and on the reverse of it, it has sort of a shiny texture to it. So I don't think I'm going to need to line it because both the Ivy and the Camden are lined pinafore dresses. So I think I might get away with just having that unlined with this fabric. And I think I've got enough there to do one of those. So I'm going to have a look at the pattern pieces and see which one I can use it for. I think I would prefer to use it for the Ivy because I think it would look much better in that style. So that's two of my autumn plans. And I also have just recently bought the Tilly and the Buttons Indigo dress and tunic pattern. So I wanted to make the dress version with the visible line, you know, gathered area there. I don't know whether I'll do the flouncy kind of gathered sleeves. I might just do the straight sleeves, bracelet sort of length. And the fabric I'm going to use for that, I think, is this from my stash, which I got from John Lewis a long time ago now. And it's got like a crepe feel to it, so I think it might be a crepe. There's no stretch in this whatsoever. I have checked the fabric requirements on the back of this pattern and it's fine. It does say crepe de chine and georgette, so it will be fine for that. Now this was lined up to make the sew over it shift dress, which obviously I gave away because I'm just giving up on shift dresses now. So I'm going to use that instead on there. I also wanted to make a bolero with this. This is actually a blanket that I picked up from IKEA. And it's fleecy on one side. And I'm going to make a little bolero cardigan. Now it's out of this book here. I'm just going to grab it. And it's called Simply Sewn by Michio Ito. And inside it's got the picture of the bolero that she's wearing here. And I just think it'd just be a nice thing to just put on when you're feeling a little bit chilly, really. So that's my plan to make that. I also want to make the Tilly and the Buttons Ness skirt. And I've got a remnant that I picked up from Guthrie and Garney of some stretch denim, just in this nice sort of indigo blue. So that's my plan to use that for the Ness skirt. And then, what was the other one? Oh, the Tilly and the Buttons Mila dungarees. I'd like to go ahead and make those. So I'm going to make a toile of those because I think I need to test out the fit. And I have ordered some fabric for that. And I've ordered some stretch cotton linen look style, yeah, which I've bought. Where have I bought that from now? I can't remember. I'll put it across the bottom of the screen. I can't remember where I've ordered it from now, but it's on its way. Oh So Crafty, that's where I got it from. Oh So Crafty. So yeah, I wanted to make those. I think at the moment that might be about it. But I do want to make a coat, and I know Guthrie and Garney are bringing out a kit today, and I'm sure it's a coat, but I haven't seen the email yet, so I don't know whether it's a style that I want to make yet or not. So I'll have a look at that because I might be able to order that if it is something I'm interested in and pick it up whilst I'm at Sew Brum. Otherwise, on my Make 9 list is the Chloe coat. So moving on to my Make 9 then, I've managed to make 5 items off my 9 list of 9 things that I'd like to make. So I made the Molly top, which, you know, I didn't get on very well with. I think if I was to make it again, I need to go up a size and use a Drapier jersey. But again, like I say, the Cocoa is my standard go-to jersey top, so I don't know if I'll bother with the Molly again. I don't know. I might do, we'll see. Then I made the Toaster Sweater version 2, which was my blue and white stripy looped back jersey one. That was lovely, so that will be worn again this winter, autumn-winter. And then I made the Bettine dress, which I made in my mustard double gauze. And I'm also wearing one today, which I'll show you a bit later. I made the New Look 6446 jumpsuit, which I absolutely adore. And I've still got the other one to make. It is still laid out, cut out. It's obviously not going to get done and worn for the back end of the summer because the summer's now gone. So I will still make it, obviously, because it's cut up, and it'll just be ready for next summer. And I made the Colette Laurel dress, the one where I had all the fit issues with. And do you know what? I absolutely love that dress now. I've been wearing it. I wore it quite a lot in the summer, but I don't think I'll make it again. I've obviously given the pattern away now, so I don't have it to make again anyway. And I was going to try and put the changes on the pattern pieces, but I turned the dress inside out, and to be honest, I just didn't know where to start. So I thought, no, if I'm going to make that ever again, I might re-buy the pattern. as I've heard it has been changed slightly. Whether that is the case, like I say, I don't know. So left on my Make Nine then is the South Bank sweater dress, and I definitely want to make that this autumn winter. I'd like to make, I think, a sparkly pink one, you know, like a sweatshirt sort of material with a little bit of glitter in it. I think Guthrie and Garni have got this in stock, so I might pick the fabric up when I'm in Brum this Saturday. Just a light pink, not like a cerise pink or anything. And then I've got the Mila dungarees on my Make Nine as well, so I'm going to cross that off. And the Camden pinafore, like I say, that is going to be made, and the Chloe coat. So I am looking for some fabric when I go to Sew Brum for the Chloe coat, because I bought the Sew Over It E-class in the sale recently, so I'm going to use the class to make that that coat up, because I've never made a coat before. But I think it should be fairly straightforward. It's just the fact that it's lined, so I wouldn't know where to start with lining a coat. So that's my Make Nine update for you. So then my resolutions for this year, I have stuck to a couple of them. Now I made some Easter decorations, if you recall earlier this year. I made a pom-pom garland, and I also did, I think I made an Easter tree, which I didn't actually show you in the end, but I just basically put some eggs on a little tree. And then I wanted to sew garments from my stash of fabric, and I have done that. So I've made quite a lot from what I already had in my stash, and so I haven't bought that much fabric this year. And to be honest, I've now got hardly anything left in my stash. I've only got, I think, 8 items, so I'm going to show you what I've got left, because I have a few things that I wanted to make. Some will be for next year because they're not season appropriate, and some might be this year. I shall see. And then I wanted to make some Christmas placemats and a table runner, and I'm still going to attempt to do that in time for Christmas. And then I also wanted to make some freehand machine embroidery cushions for my house, and I'm definitely going to do that as well. I just haven't got round to it as yet, so these are just little projects that I'll be doing as and when I can. And then I added on actually to my list of resolutions for this year to make some bunting for my boys' bedrooms, just because our house is not really decorated to our standard yet. I just wanted to prettify their bedrooms a little bit, because when the twins start school next year, that's when we're going to start renovating the house. So we need them out of the house because it's just going to be chaos. And then I wanted to make some items to sell at a craft fair. Now, I don't know if I'm going to fulfil that goal, because I know that it takes a lot of work to get everything made to sell at a craft fair, and you don't always get the price that you're looking for, because some people don't want to spend a lot of money when they go to craft fairs. But I did make recently, if you can just see here next to me, some pattern weights out of polymer clay, Fimo polymer clay. So I'll just bring these in. It's a bit bright today, sorry if you can't see this, but they're just little cakes that I made. So just like with the icing and some sprinkly bits on the top, and inside there is 2 washers. And I did buy some with a hole in the middle to make the donut style ones like Oh So Quaint used to do. Now, she has since closed her shop because I know she couldn't keep up with the demand of orders, and I'm not surprised, to be honest. They were absolutely beautiful pattern weights, and she was making them solely by herself, so I'm not surprised she couldn't keep up with the demand because they're obviously handmade. So I wanted to have a go at doing them myself because I'm quite crafty anyway, and I've just got 2 washers in there, but the ones I bought didn't have a big enough hole to make the donut style, so I'm going to have to rebuy those ones. But yeah, these weigh 65 grams each, because I use sort of the same amount of Fimo clay for each section. Yeah, and I've used those now for cutting out my patterns and using my rotary cutter and things like that. And I popped a picture on my Instagram page, and quite a few people said, oh, I'd buy those. So I was considering maybe these at a craft fair. But what would I charge? This is the thing, because they're not cheap to make. They do cost quite a bit because the washers aren't cheap and the Fimo clay is not cheap either. So, and then obviously the time it takes you to make them, you know, you don't want to be charging less than what you've made them for, because what's the point? So I am actually approaching 2,000 subscribers now. So I might make some of these as a giveaway prize if you're interested. Yeah. So handmade by me to you. But yeah, I really enjoyed making those, but I don't think I'd ever set up a shop to sell them. I don't really, you know, like when Danny from Oh So Quaint, keeping up with demand, it's just, yeah, take its toll, I think. I'd be sick of seeing them. But yeah, I really enjoyed making those, so that's something that I might consider for a craft fair in the future, or you know, I'm going to do maybe a giveaway for that. So that was all my resolutions, really. So not too bad. I will update you at the end of the year or beginning of next year, because I can't believe that now we're in October, you know, Christmas is going to come around really quickly. Oh, so I'll quickly show you the stash of fabrics that I've got left then and the ideas that I've got for them. There's not much at all. Like I say, I think I've only got about 8 fabrics. So I picked this spotty cotton fabric up recently. It's a very fine spot on there, and it's a navy. And I got that from a D-stash, I think it was, for raising funds for Click Sargent of, I can't remember the lady's name. She's got a little girl who's suffering with cancer, and she's currently having treatment. I think it's So Leslie. I will pop her Instagram name across the bottom of the screen. So I got that off there because people had donated fabric and were posting it out to people who paid what they were asking for, basically. So I got this for one. So I'm not sure what I'm going to make with that yet. It is quite a stiff cotton, and it is very thin as well, so it'll probably have to be lined into something. So I don't have any plans for that as yet, but that one, yeah, I think there's about 1.5 meters there. And then I've got this remnant left over from when I made the Sylvia robe by Sew Over It, which used to be called the kimono. So this one is a crepe, which I got from Guthrie and Garney, and it's got some koi carps on. It's very oriental style. So I think with what I've got left of that, because it is just a remnant, I'm going to make the Ogden Cami out of that. Yeah, because I don't really think I can make anything else out of it. I've still got this linen kind of look fabric, and somebody did mention I could line it and make it into the Tilling the Buttons Ariel skirt. So I am considering that, because this is really lightweight and has no stretch in it either. I'm not sure when I'll make that though, probably next year. And then I've got this beautiful sort of rayon, I think it's a viscose probably, from Crafty So-and-So. Now this was a remnant I picked up, and there is about 2 meters there. It's really, really flimsy. So I'm considering for this one, maybe the Tilling the Buttons marigold jumpsuit for that. I'm not sure, we'll see. And then I've got 2 meters of this peach skin fabric that I got from Guthrie and Garney, and it's got these pelicans, flamingos, I never know which is which on there. And with this one, I don't know what I want to make with that. This one I initially bought to make the Tilling the Buttons Bettine, but I just have gone off that idea, so I need to have a think about what I'm going to make with that. Again, the Tilling the Buttons marigold jumpsuit might be quite nice for that, so I'll have to have a think about that. This one is definitely going to be for next year. It's a stretch cotton that I got from Barra's Fabrics in Birmingham, and it's a very light pink gingham, really small check. And I'm going to make the Tilling the Buttons Megan dress for that one. Now I've got it here to show you in the book. Here we are. So I'm going to make that with it, because it's got a little bit of stretch in that cotton, so it will be very, very comfortable. Then I picked this up at Sobrum last year in the sort of fabric giveaway bit, which everybody was putting their fabrics on the table. It's a lovely cotton with these white flowers on. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this one then is I'm going to make the Tilling the Buttons Lilu dress, because I've got enough there for that. So I'll just show you that as well in the book, because there is a pleated skirt version and a gathered skirt version. So I think I'm probably going to do the pleated skirt version. It's something a bit different. So that's the Lilu dress there. So it's a fit and flare style dress. So I'm going to give that one a go with that fabric. I can't believe it's been a year since the last Sobrum, so I've had that fabric a whole year near enough. And then this is the last fabric that I've got in my stash, and I also picked this up at Sobrum last year on the rag market, and it's 6 yards of this gorgeous African wax print, and this one is definitely going to be lined up for the Sew Over It Betty dress, because I think as this is quite a big print, you need that big skirt to be able to showcase it off. So I just need to get that washed and made up really, because I think you could probably wear it at any time of year, you know, if you put it with a little jacket or something. So that's it. That's all my stash of fabrics. So now I am going to have to start buying fabrics for when I do my projects. So that's quite exciting. So I'll see what I can find when I go to Sew Brum. Okay, so the next thing then, I'm going to show you what I have now made. So I'll go on to the things that I've not made for myself. So first of all, I've got a Minerva Crafts project and I picked up some jersey from them. So they sent this to me for free in return for a blog post. And my sister-in-law has recently had her 4th baby, so I've got a new nephew. And we didn't know what the sex was going to be, so I wanted to use a neutral sort of fabric. And this, yeah, I saw this and thought it was lovely. So I've used this fabric, which has got little elephants on. I must say that the scale was much larger than I anticipated it to be. I thought it was going to be a bit more of a smaller print, so I was a little bit disappointed that they were so large, because obviously when they get lined up on seams and things, if you're not good at pattern matching like me, then they don't look all that great. So the patterns that I chose to make then was the Patterns for Pirates, Petite Pegs, which are these here, and the Teeny Beanie and the Wee Lap Tee. Now I didn't end up making the Wee Lap Tee, and I'll tell you why in a moment, but these are free patterns off their website, so you just download them as a PDF, and because they're only baby patterns, they go from preemie to 12 months. It only literally prints off on like maybe 3 pages, so it's dead simple to cut out. So I made the Teeny Beanie then, this little hat here, and there are 3 options. You can have this one with the tie knot at the top, or you can have just a plain one without that, so it would just be like that, or you can have some with little like teddy bear ears, which I suppose you could have a lot of fun with it depending on what fabric you use. So that was really straightforward to make. I did have a little bit of trouble going around using my overlocker, so I think next time I'll probably just sew that up on my sewing machine and then finish the edges, because it was a little bit small to get that under the foot on my overlocker. And then it just has this little band at the bottom that you attach and fold up, so that's really nice. And then the Petite Pegs are just a sort of standard pair of leggings, and they've just got a waistband and 2 legs, so 3 pattern pieces, so really simple to put together. You overlock the edge first and then fold up the hem and stitch it in place, rather than doing it after you've sewn the legs up, because that would be really small otherwise to put under your machine. So yeah, that they worked out really well. Really pleased with that. Now I had a problem with the Wee Lap Tee, because on the pattern it's got this little overlapped collar section, and I just really struggled with that on my overlock, and I think I initially was trying to do the size for 3 months, and so it was really small. Again, I probably should have had a go on it on my sewing machine first. So I scrapped that because my overlocker ate some of the fabric and it got stuck. So I then reverted to using my trusty Rowan Tee by Titchy Threads. I just made the standard little jumper. I didn't put any cuffs or waistband on. I literally just folded up the bottom and stitched it with a stretch stitch, and then I just put the standard sort of neckband on there. And I've done, these sizes are for a 6-month-old, so I've just done slightly bigger. I had already given my sister-in-law a hat and the little Petite Pegs for her in a size 3 months, so I'm going to send these to her now. So I'm really pleased with those, and like I say, really quick to make up, so I definitely recommend those as a nice little gift for somebody who's having a baby. And if you've also got a little one, you could make a stack of those little little leggings really. Okay then, so I made a top for myself earlier this month, which was for the Sew a Top Challenge, which Penguin and Pear, Claire of Penguin and Pear Dressmaking had come up with, and I made this one, which was a ruffle style top, and I did try and make one previous to this with a different fabric, but I didn't get on very well with the sizing, so I have now made that into a little girl's dress. So I have got it here to show you. So it's just this lovely strawberry fabric, and I made the straps not in a tie detail, I just attached them. So I measured it on one of my sons. It's just got elastic in there, and so it's just, you know, like a little pop-over sundress really. So that's really cute. I have got some pictures of one of my twins, James, wearing it. So I'm going to insert those pictures so you can see. Okay, so that was my first sort of makes, and then I made what I'm wearing, which is the Tilly and the Buttons Bettine dress. And I got this fabric from Rachel of Stitched Up, who's on YouTube and Instagram, and she did a de-stash on her Instagram account, and I managed to pick this up. And it's just a standard cotton, but it has got a little bit of stretch to it, just a tad, enough to make it really comfortable. And I just went with the same size that I did my mustard bettine, the double gauze mustard fabric that I used. And I found that one was very sort of roomy because of the style of fabric. So I knew this would be a bit more of a closer fitting garment, and I'm really, really pleased with it actually. It's so comfortable and it doesn't feel too big. The difference that I've done with this one is when you insert the elastic or make the casing for the elastic, you are supposed to fold it down and then stitch around it. And some people have stitched it folding it up, and so I've done that this time because it doesn't make such a blousy effect of where the fabric hangs over the waistband section. So I'll stand back so you can see it, as I think it gives a better silhouette on me. Okay, so I've got it on with tights and I have a slip on underneath just because I don't want it to stick to my tights. I've used the pocket, put the pockets in as well. Yeah, and so the elastic casing then, you'll see it's not got as much fabric hanging over like that as my other one had. It's just a little bit more streamlined, and I really, really like that. I'll put the cuff details on again. So I'll just turn around so you can see. Yeah, really, really pleased with how this one has turned out, and I do wear it ever such a lot. So it actually is my favourite bettine at the moment. I do still wear my double gauze one, but I think I get more wear out of this one. So that's something to bear in mind if you did want to make that alteration. And I did the same with the alteration of my skirt as well. Took the hip curve off and straightened out the bottom of the pattern slightly, and I've made those changes to my pattern piece, so every time I make it, it's correct. And it is the size 4 that I've made, but the seam allowance all the way from underneath the arm down to the bottom, I've only used 3/8 of an inch because this pattern does come up slightly smaller. So that's that one. I'll go and change into my next make, bear with me. Okay, so my next make then is another make for the Minerva blog. And again, this fabric has been gifted to me in return for a blog post. And I decided to make the New Look 6511, which is this pattern here. And I picked this up off the pattern swap that took place earlier this year on Instagram. And I really like the loose waist effect. I have a dress that's very, very similar to this, a ready-to-wear dress that I bought from a charity shop. So I decided to replicate it because that one is quite short. So I thought I'd make the dress, but I'd do it sleeveless, just so I can wear it with the cardigan, because obviously we are getting into the cooler months now. I really, really like this fabric. I love the colours on it. I think it suits my skin tone. The neck I do find really high on this. And it is slightly uncomfortable, I have to say. Not uncomfortable enough for me to not wear it, but yeah, I think next time I would definitely lower that section. Now this top or dress has French darts. I don't know if you'll be able to see this on there. So they're not your standard bust darts. I think they're called French darts. And I don't like the way they sit on me. They're not right. When I move around, they're not showing very much here, but I get this little bit of fabric there. Do you see it's pinching a little bit? So they're not quite right for me. Feels like I need to like pull it down like that. Maybe, I don't know. So I think next time I would change them to standard bust darts, because I think then it would sit absolutely fine on me. So it's got this loose gathered waist. I made the size, I think it was the 10 I chose for this one, which is a 32.5 inch bust. Now I'm a 34, which would put me at the size 12, and I usually ignore the waist and hips on things that are loose, because obviously you can change them by doing different seam allowances. But for the size 10, the finished bust measurement was 37 inches, so I thought, oh, that's quite big. And it was absolutely huge when I put it on. I attached the skirt to it, and even the skirt was absolutely massive, to the point that where it's all gathered, this was like out here and this was out here, and I looked like I was wearing a tent. And again, trying to like it looked like I was wearing a maternity style dress, and so it wasn't very flattering. So I took it in at the side seams by a good, I think probably ½ inch on each side, maybe even more. So if I was to make it again, I'd definitely size down. But obviously the only risk with that is the neck section might be even smaller, but I'd definitely lower that. It has a keyhole section at the back. Let me show you on the line drawings here. And the dress and tunic versions are finished with a frog closure, which is like a decorative hook and eye. And I was just going to put a standard hook and eye on it, but in the end I opted to have a plastic snap, which I use with my Vario pliers, and I overlapped the back slightly, so that has made the neck even tighter, unfortunately, but it just made the back of the dress sit in flatter to my back for some reason when I overlapped that bit at the top. So maybe there was a little bit too much fabric there, so maybe if I do size down, that probably would work. So like I say, I took it in at the side seams a lot, and I'm much happier with the fit of it now, which fits fine. I'll stand back so you can see the length of this dress, because it's absolutely ridiculously short. I didn't measure it because I thought, well, that's the tunic style, you see. So the dress, obviously, I thought would be a lot longer, but it's not. It's so short. So next time I'll definitely have to lengthen the skirt by a good 4 inches, I think. So I'll stand back anyway so you can see. Okay, so you can see then, nice free waist here, really comfortable, but look how short that is, considering it's supposed to be a dress. I mean, if I bent over, you would see everything. So I've got it on with leggings, and I think it looks fine as like a tunic top, and I could wear that with sandals. I'll just see if I can show you the back opening. So there's the keyhole section. I've just used a little snap. Yeah, so I'm really happy with it. Overall, just the length and those bust darts, which is just a little bit of a shame, but it looks really nice when I wear it with my mustard blackwood cardigan, so I can definitely see it through the autumn, because I think these colours are quite autumn-like. Yeah, so I would like to make it again, but I'll try sizing down and then lengthening the skirt of that. It's very similar actually to the Tilly and the Buttons Indigo, so I might get on better with that shape, so we'll see how I go with that, and I'll report back. Okay, so I'll get changed into my final make then, so I'll be back in a moment. So I forgot to say that I added at the bottom a bias bound hem. You know, I used bias binding to hem the dress, and I usually do that on sort of cotton poplin to give it a bit of stability at the bottom, but because I wanted to add a little bit of length, I did leave a little bit showing, so I'll just stand up so you can see that. So it's just here, it's a nice blue, contrast blue, and I've just added that onto the bottom. And the neckline and armholes are also finished with bias binding, so I just use blue on there as well, just so it contrasts quite nicely. So yeah, I really like that little bit showing, so I'll probably do that again even when I lengthen the skirt next time. Okay, sorry, back in a moment. Okay, so my final make then is my Ogden Cami that I've made recently for the sew-along that I've just done. It's a size 4, and I have lengthened it by 2 inches at the shortened lengthen lines, and I have used the standard 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, but next time, if in this type of fabric, I think I'm going to use 5/8, because I have found I wore it for a day and it has bagged slightly at the armholes, which it was a little bit big anyway, but it got worse as I wore it. Can you see how much room there is there? And so when I bend forwards, it does, you know, gape quite a lot. And on one of my other ones, which I accidentally did 5/8 of an inch, it sits a lot snugger like that, and it's so much more comfortable. I'm not constantly pulling it up and fiddling about with it. So I'm going to just literally whip down the sides by about 1/4 of an inch on each side, just to bring it in just that little bit more. Really happy with the fabric that I've chosen. I can't remember where I got this from, but I know Guthrie and Garney do have it in stock right now, as I saw it on one of Lauren's fabric videos recently. yeah, and it's not very expensive either. I think, I'm not sure how much Guthrie and Garnier is selling it for, but I think I only paid about £8.50 per metre, I think. Yeah, so I'll stand back anyway so you can see the length on me. So just sort of there. The V at the back is a lot deeper than the front, and I do find it does show my bra on this one. It doesn't on some of my others, and I think it's probably just due to the drape of the fabric on this particular one. But I, like I said in a previous video, I do need to invest in a decent strapless bra. Yeah, one that's comfortable and stays up, and I'm not going to be fiddling around with it. It doesn't show the bra straps off too badly if I wear a skin-coloured bra, but still, I think once that's a bit tighter as well, it'll probably sit closer at the back in the right place maybe. Yeah, so that's all my makes then. So I hope this video hasn't been too long for you and you've enjoyed watching it. Okay, so just one more last thing I wanted to speak to you about, and that was I really just wanted to say thank you ever so much to everybody who commented on one of my previous videos where I mentioned about my injury whilst I was training for the Leicester Marathon. The marathon actually does take place this Sunday, so the silver lining of me not being able to do it has been that I can now attend So Brum. But yeah, still obviously gutted that I can't do it, and it's going to be horrible to see people putting all their pictures on Facebook and things of them completing it and that kind of thing. My hip has become a lot better. I've only been out for one run, and that was last week. I went out last Tuesday and only did 4 miles with my running club. And I thought, you know, I'll try and go off steady and not take it too crazy. But I've just got a standard sort of pace that I do, and I just can't seem to get out of it. And when I try and run slower, I don't know, I just naturally speed up to my natural pace. So when I looked at my watch after I'd done those 4 miles, I was running a little bit faster than I should have been for sure. There was one hill involved, so I could start feeling my hip niggling a little bit as I was going up the hill. And then when I got back, it was a little bit stiff after I'd had a shower. And then over the next few days, it was a little bit stiff to walk on. So it's definitely not healed or anything like that. I'm going for some physio, so I'm hoping that will help. And maybe they might be able to give me sort of an idea as to what is wrong. When I visited the doctor, she said my hip itself was absolutely fine. The movement was perfect. I've got no hip issues as such. So she thinks it's like muscular or something to do with maybe a tendon that I've pulled or something. So the physio will obviously be able to give me a bit more information on that as well. So thank you to everybody who did comment, give me suggestions and put forward, you know, products that I could try as well. So I really do appreciate that, and I've taken all those comments on board, and I will be trying a few things out. So I hope to be back running fairly soon, so I'm just gonna have to ease myself in gradually basically. Yeah, so my boys have enjoyed having me around a lot more anyway, because they always moan when I go running, even though it's after their bedtime. It's because I'm in my running gear. I'm like, where are you going? Yeah, so anyway, ramble over. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll come back to you as soon as I can with some makes, but like I say, they're my autumn makes, so I'm not going to give a deadline. But I will come back to you and show you what I bought at So Brum. So thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.